Here you doing? In Japan, there's so many problems in agriculture industry, even though the Japanese government is really enthusiastic about activating farming job to protect this industry. Problems are like successor problems and the problem that no people who want to work as a farmer in Japan, and the problem of shortage of farming laborers, and small wage problems, and the problems of increase in abandoned farmlands in Japan. And if there are problems in agriculture industry, which I can say clearly without surmising, this industry doesn't make good money. This industry doesn't make good money at all. This is the truth. I would say one more time, this industry brings no fortune. So if you want to work as a farmer in Japan, I would stop you, right? So do you really want to work for the industry that you can't make sufficient money to make a living, even with your every effort? I'm sure your answer is no. I'm sure your answer is no. No, you don't. You don't want to work for the industry that you can't make sufficient money to make a living. It's it's really stupid. So I'm just gonna give you some examples. In the area where I used to work as a farmer in Odawara, there were five new farmers who were independent of farming company where I used to work for in Odawara. But there were nobody who became full-time farmer, but they had a side job to support their livings, even though they experienced working as a farmer for about 5 years since they started as a trainee in the farming company where I used to belong to. So one runs izakaya restaurant, and the other one works for bartender, and they can't make a living with just farming job. So they need to have another job to support their livings. So their farming job is not really profitable at all. And actually, there were some young men who had an ideal to farm work in the farming company where I used to work for, and they quit very soon because they realized it was almost impossible to manage their livings with the amount of salary they got from the company. So I think their salary is really small, really small, and they realized it was impossible to manage their livings with that much salaries. So, and actually they didn't have intention to become independent farmer, but they just wanted to work as an employed farmer in the farming company. So there's so many farming companies that provide no guarantees to give workers to as much salary as a worker can make a living, at least. So this is just exploitation. Looking at from another perspective, so many farming companies are not profitable. So many farming companies does not make good money. They don't make any profit to pay sufficient money to workers. So this is really exploitation. See, every single problem comes from money. So if farmers in Japan are rich and wealthy, we don't see any problems like this. So let's replace this problem to technology industry. Have you ever thought why young people are really serious about learning the programming? Because they can make a lot of money with programming skills. So if we have a situation where we can't make enough money to make a living with programming skills, no people who want to work. There are no people who want to work for tech industry, tech startups, tech companies, no matter how innovative job they have. So every problem is rooted from money. So you can't make a living with ideal, and you can't make a living with high ethic. You can't make living just moral. You can't make living with just mercy. But people need to make money to make a living. So why do people take trouble to choose the farming job? Why do people take the trouble to work for the farming company that uses employees as a slave with just small money, small salaries? Before we just talk about the future agriculture technologies, it is way more important and it is way constructive for us to talk about why farming business generates few money and brings no fortune, and why farming business cover the salaries that workers can make a living. So nowadays, vertical farming technology companies attract people's attention, but there are no more than no profitable companies that somehow survive with financial support from investors. They don't make profit, so they just survive. They just survive somehow with financial support from the investors, and investors just invest the future possibility of vertical farming. So at least at this point in time, farming job isn't that job that people dream of, and at least from the perspective of wealth and rich. So if people realize that they can make more money than they do programming, they just quit the job from tech industry and they just quit programming. They just change the job and start working as a farmer. Everything is money. So I just want to say one more time, farming makes no good money in Japan, at least.